Alex Ovechkin was red hot, but is now week to week with an injury. Will it impact his market? We'll talk about that and so much more on today's episode of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome. This is episode 29 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast with myself, Mike Distefano, and my co-host, Anthony Santini. We're here to dive deep into the world of hockey card collecting, flipping, and investing. What's going on, Anth? How you feeling today?
What's up, buddy? Feeling pretty good. Ready to watch a little bit of hockey last night. Wasn't able to watch too much. Went to go watch the boys play basketball and then hit up Chuck's after. So that was a pretty good time. But I know Leafs are on tonight. Joseph Woll's getting the start. And I know we're going to get into it, but still no Auston Matthews. I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, he's now been out for about 3 weeks. It's turned into, a day-to-day. Then he was put on IR, and now we find out that he's flown out to Germany to get some sort of treatment to whatever has been ailing him. And the issue is we have no idea what the injury is. I think that's what's kind of concerning a lot of Leaf fans right now, and a lot of people who hold, some stock in the Auston Matthews card game, which both of us do have a little piece of Auston Matthews. So it definitely is a little bit concerning. Brad Treliving, the general manager, came out yesterday and did say that he's expecting Matthews to return next week at Wednesday at the latest. I think they play the Florida Panthers. I think that's kind of the target date for him to return. So it won't be tonight against Vegas or Sunday against Utah. They're hoping that he will be back next week, though, and all can be well for Auston Matthews. But yeah, his card market has definitely taken a bit of a hit. We'll get to that in the Hockey Card Stock Exchange in just a little bit. But I want to talk about another guy whose market could potentially take a bit of a hit with an injury. Alex Ovechkin, who's been the hottest player in the NHL over the course of the last month. He's got 13 goals or 15 goals in 18 games, 13 in his last 10 games, which is absolutely unbelievable. But had an unfortunate situation the other night, a little collision he had went, I don't know if it was ankle on ankle, I guess we could call it, but a collision nonetheless. And he ended up coming up with an injury. He had to get helped off the ice, did not return to the game, and is now considered week to week. This sucks for multiple reasons. One, what he was doing was incredible. And as a hockey fan, I loved watching Ovechkin go out there and score like 2 goals a night, which is basically what he was doing in the last couple of weeks here. Like, it's unbelievable how he's been able to turn back the clock. But we all know that he's chasing down that Gretzky goal record. And we were all hoping that he got it done this year. And now with him being out week to week, we don't know how long that's going to be. But that kind of puts that record in jeopardy a little bit, at least for this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, I thought too, like he wouldn't start out flying this like an insane start to the season. I don't think anyone expected it at all. He just came crashing down the door, 2-3 goal games out. He just scored a hat trick the other night.
Dude, it took him like 48 games last year to get to 15 goals, and he did it in 18 games.
And
There's
I think
30 less games. Unbelievable.
the disappointing part now, I mean, we'll see how much of an impact this injury has on his season this year. We're hoping that maybe he could play as soon as possible because I want to see him, come down at that door, knocking at that door of the Gretzky record as hard as he can. No one wants to see him kind of crawling to the record, 2 back-to-back 20-goal seasons. That's not something I was really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to him being in the Rocket Richard race and dropping 55 goals this year because that's exactly the pace that he was on, just kind of plowing down any opponent that came across because that was a start. It was just unreal what he was able to do so far. So really disappointed to see his injury. And even watching that game too, I was thinking to myself, all right, the opportunity of 2 back-to-back hat tricks in one of his biggest seasons ever coming at this record for hockey fans, so important. But he's never been injured before. Like I was remembering when I was watching hockey growing up, and I was trying to say, I don't really remember any substantial injuries for Ovi where he really missed 40 plus games or had a big impact on his season.
beacon of consistency. An
Seriously.
absolute beacon of consistency. I think the most games he's ever missed in a season, he played, what, 40 no, that was a lockout
Lockout
shortened
year.
year where so I guess he missed 11 games that year. Is that the most that he's ever missed? 11 games in a season? I believe so. Taking a peek at the, at his games played every year. So, that season where it was the COVID shortened year, he only played 45 games. So maybe he must have got COVID or something and missed some games there. But that's the most amount of games that he's missed in a year. Like, it was a lot of 82s, 79s, 78s. Like, the guy just plays each and every year and doesn't get injured. Like, he's been able to stay healthy his whole career. And it's unfortunate that right now, during the hottest stretch possibly of his career, at age 39 at that, he suffers this lower body injury, an ankle injury, and, we don't know how much time he's going to miss. And we don't know how he's going to look when he gets back. Like, an ankle injury at 39 years old, kind of tough. Like, I know it's not like a torn Achilles like Aaron Rodgers, but you look at, he's been a shell of himself this year coming off that Achilles injury. Like, you just don't heal as easily and as well once you get to that point in your life and in your career. So, is the injury going to slow him down when he returns, and kind of make it a bit more of a slower pace to get to Gretzky's record? I hope that's not the case, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. But this is a hockey card podcast, Anthony. I guess my next question to you is, will this slow down his market, do you think? Because it's not even a debate. He's been the hottest player in the market all season long, and especially over the last few weeks as he's been just tearing it up. 13 goals the last 10 games. It's been unbelievable. And his card sales just continue to soar. His PSA 10, 7,000 was his last PSA 10 sale. Is unbelievable. His PSA 9s are up to 2.3K for a PSA 9 Young Gun sale. So, we're seeing his market just explode right now as he inches closer and closer to that record. But now that he's hurt and those goals won't be dropping as frequently as they have been the last few weeks, do you think we see this market kind of slow down at this point? Could this be an opportunity to get into the OB market if this happens?
I mean, I think for people looking to sell OV cards, I'm going to go off of personal experience. So, shout out our sponsor, Slab Sharks. I was going to submit an Ovechkin autograph out of 22 to Slab Sharks. That was my initial plan this week before the injury. But now, looking at the injury, I would anticipate a little bit of a slowdown to his market just because he's not going to be playing. He's not going to be, putting up those 2-3 goal games like he was just last week. So for me personally, I won't be sending any OV cards to auction just yet because I'm a little bit optimistic to how serious this injury is. And I'm sure I'm not going to be the only person that's going to say, you know what? Let me just wait another week. Let me wait another week. Let me wait until he's really back. Let's see what it looks like when he is back, because there is a world where he comes back and he's not flying out the gate like he was. He might go on a 15-game skid just like he was struggling to score goals last year. It's not really what we're used to seeing when we watch Ovechkin play hockey, but I think the prices that he got to, call it maybe midweek last week and the start of this week Sunday before that injury happened, was kind of the peak that we're going to see for the next couple months, just because that was the peak of, I mean, even what I've ever seen Ovechkin play. Like, he was just, he's at the top of his game, it feels like right now. Like, it's ridiculous.
Dude, I mean, the guy over his last 10 games, literally, and like 9 and change, actually, because he got hurt in the middle of the one game, but we'll call it 10 games, 13 in 10 games, 1.3 goals per game, and an 82 game pace. That's 106 goals,
Whew,
which would
unreal.
blow Gretzky's single season goal record out of the water. Now, obviously, he was not going to keep that pace up all year long, but it was, really good to see. It was obviously awesome for the hobby. I mean, his market was exploding. Like, I got into it. I got into the OV hobby love at the expo. I bought a PSA 8 Young Guns. I still have that PSA 8 Young Guns. But when I bought it, comps were about 1,100 or so, and now the last sale on a PSA 8 Young Guns is like $1,600. So like in the course of 2 weeks, we've seen it go up $500. Like it's really quite something, quite remarkable what Ovechkin has been able to do at 39 years old, and the whole team, like everybody. You got Connor McMichael is a player who's been surging. Dylan Strome is a guy who's up there averaging well over a point per game. Alexi
Yeah.
Protas is averaging a point per game. Like the Washington Capitals have been the story of the season to this point, and hopefully the Alex Ovechkin injury doesn't derail things entirely, and the players who've stepped up and played well around him can continue to do so, because I think there's a lot of markets in Washington that have seen players markets rise. I just mentioned those 3 players. All 3 of them are on the up and up, right? Like I'm trying to pick up some Protas cheap wherever I can. Connor McMichael, another player who's got like 10, 11, 12 goals, I think. Like, it's unbelievable what this kid's doing. So we'll see. It is something to monitor over the next couple of weeks, whether or not Ovechkin's market slows down. And if it does, I mean, you said you're not selling, but is it a chance to buy perhaps if it starts to slow down a little? Because at some point it's going to pick back up, you'd think.
Yeah, it depends what his prices really drop to, how serious this injury is, how long he's going to be out for. I do think at the end of the day, he's going to break the record. The question is now if it's really going to be this year. I don't think it was even a thought at the beginning of the year for me personally. I think the
Oh, it's a
odds were,
thought. It's definitely a thought. Just
yeah, but
unlikely.
I, I
Unlikely.
I think the odds were pretty. I think it was like plus 600 or something like that, just off the top of my head. I remember seeing the bet, and I was like, yeah, I don't really see Ovi popping that many goals this year. It wasn't really something I was betting on. I did actually grab his over 29.5. That was the line for the season. And if he was on the pace that he was playing at, he was going to like absolutely slam that. I thought he was probably going to drop at least 40 or 45 goals.
You could have been there by Christmas.
Yeah, seriously.
That's just great. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. But hopefully we're praying for Ovi's health. The game is a lot better when he's on the ice, and when he's scoring goals, especially, which is what he's been doing the last couple of weeks. And hopefully within the next couple of weeks he can get back to that. On the opposite end of things, someone who is not scoring at the elite pace that maybe we all expected him to at the beginning of the season, Connor Bedard, Anthony, really struggling this year. Just 3 goals in 19 games. Is the Bedsy dip coming? Like, do you think that people are starting to realize that maybe he is not the generational goal scoring talent that people thought he was? It looks like the dip has started, but how far could it go? Is PSA 10 Young Guns, Anthony, down 13% since the start of the season, and have finally dipped below $1,000 for the first time. Is this going to continue, or do you think that if he regroups in a pretty quick manner, that the market will kind of stabilize and start to go back up?
I mean, it's a tough look right now because it is what people like to call the sophomore slump, where a player comes in their second year and kind of struggles out of the gate. And that's exactly what happened for Bedard. I don't think he scored a goal in over 3 weeks, I believe is the stat. Definitely a buy low, I'm going to say right now. I think that even though his prices are a little bit higher than most cards are, when you look at a player that is, has the anticipation that he has, about $300 to $350 Canadian for a Young Gun, which I've always said is super high. But considering what the box prices were and what they still are right now, it's very hard for this card, I think, to drop under $300. It hasn't dropped just yet for a raw. The PSA 10s have slowly started to drop, especially as the pop counts have rise. But I think it's in the 9s as well. And I just think that it's one of those situations where the Chicago Blackhawks aren't the best hockey team. I think we all knew that coming into the season. If you were going to invest in Bedard, you're not investing in their team because you think they're going to make the playoffs. They're obviously not performing at all right now. And he especially doesn't have many line mates where he can go out there and shine. When you look at some of these other prospects that have a little bit of more firepower to work with. Some players in their fourth, fifth year now that have really started to pick up. We look at Lafreniere. He was a first overall pick that finally has a supporting cast to him, or more, he can support a cast of, Panarin, Trocheck, and some of the other better players in the NHL. I do think Bedard's going to be okay. And I know I'm always an advocate for just hold off, but actually this weekend I picked up my very first, and I got to find it now because I got it in my grading pile. But this is my official first ever Connor Bedard Young Guns that I bought this weekend after many months. The very first one, shout out Just Your Average Collector, I believe is his Instagram. We got a deal done, and this is the very first Connor Bedard Young Guns that I've ever owned. So shout out. I'm buying low.
Well, I'm curious. What do you mind sharing what you paid for it? Because I'm curious what the market is right now for a raw Young Guns and like what you're able to get it for.
I think it was around $325. I believe it was $325. We were trying to push for like $300, but it's tough. People still would rather hold on to Connor Bedard Young Guns and sell them right now because he has the opportunity to really shoot up. So, I mean, I was pretty happy to pick up my first Bedard, and I feel like, not financial advice, but $300 is kind of that sweet spot right now for Bedard.
Yeah, I mean, it's never dipped below that. Even in the summer, it didn't dip below that. And if he's still selling at $325 with only 3 goals, like if that dip has not come yet, like maybe it's not going to. The one thing I will say is there could be a couple reasons as to why the market for his Young Guns has gone down. Like I said, 13% dip in his PSA 10 Young Guns since the start of the season. The fact he only has 3 goals is probably the biggest reason for it. But also, I think, you could look at the fact that there's been so many cards that have come out. His Future Watch came out since then also, and that has, taken up a lot of oxygen and a lot of the hobby dollars when it comes to investing in Bedard. So people are leaving the PSA 10s away and now chasing after the Future Watch autos and the flops and whatnot. That could be another reason for it. And as more Bedard cards come out, Engrained came out today. People are going to go after that. That leaves the Young Guns market kind of to the side a little bit. But I wonder too, I was taking a look at this and I thought this was a wild statistic, Anthony. The Connor Bedard Young Guns is now the highest, most populated graded card in hockey card history. I'm not talking just PSA 10s. I'm saying graded in general. You look at the Connor Bedard PSA grades via GemRate, and there has been in total 13,960 total graded cards by PSA when it comes to Connor Bedard. And that is more than the Gretzky OPG rookie. It's more than the Yager OPG Premier rookie card, which for years were considered, the top graded cards, and no one thought that they could be touched because of how overprinted things were, especially the Yager card. And all of a sudden, Connor Bedard, we're not even a year into this card being out there. Think about how much product there still is to rip. And, that Bedard that you just have right now, I saw you having a graded card sleeve, Anthony. Where's that puppy going?
Hey, it's going right to PSA. I mean, grade it 2 months from now. We'll see what that looks like when I get that back. Maybe his market could pick up a little bit. But like you said, too, like it's not, what I wanted to get to with it being the most graded sports card. It's not a rare card. Like that's not just a hot take. It's fact. It's not a rare card. The Upper Deck Young Gun Connor Bedard. It's not a rare card. It's not rare.
Right. No. I understand that. And I think everybody understands that.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at PSA 10s and graded cards and why they've held value is because of population counts. The pop counts have gotten so high. Well, the pop count is higher than any other card in history. I mean, is that not going to impact the market too? You don't think it will?
I think it's by flooding the market, you're just gonna slowly lower the price. It wouldn't be very surprising if we saw prices around 700 to 750 for PSA 10s, especially if he keeps up the pace that he's on right now. Maybe if he could turn around his season.
If he keeps up this pace, I mean, that's going to be far less than $700. I mean, let's be honest. He's on pace for like 15 goals this year.
Yeah,
There's
and
no chance if he scores 15 that you're spending $700 on a PSA 10 Bedard Young Guns. No
yeah,
chance.
I
No
don't know.
chance. But yeah, it's very interesting. I've been very out on the Bedard market. I've always thought it was very inflated. Sounds like the dip is coming. It's here, and I'm just curious if it's tied more to his poor play, or if it's somewhat tied to the pop counts, the lack of rarity, the fact that there's so many other cards that are coming out, like the Future Watch and whatnot. Like there's a lot of factors for it, which is why I still don't believe that his Young Guns. If you're buying right now PSA, it's different if you're buying raw to grade. You can still make a profit doing that. But if you're buying PSA 10s, I don't think that's a very sound purchase and sound investment. Again, not advice, just my own personal opinion here. I think this is something that could continue to go down for a little bit.
Yeah, with the way he's playing too, definitely. Like it's just tough. Pop counts are going up. He's not playing great. Prices are borderline as high as they'll ever be. I know they really got to around 1,200, but still 1,950 to 1,000 is still a very high price. Like I think this could probably be the peak that we see his PSA 10s for this season. I mean, like I said, with pop counts going up, prices are going to be flooding prices are going to slowly go down as the market gets flooded. There's going to be a lot of PSA 10s out there, a lot of people getting PSA sub returns. So it's not the smartest card to pick up if you are looking to stash PSA 10s. Maybe Raws could be a decent idea. I picked up one. I think it's a half decent idea, maybe not the absolute best investment, but there's still the hype for him. So people love Connor Bedard, and even with the Winter Classic he's going to be playing in this year, maybe a little bit of hype, maybe he could show out there. Last year we saw a huge game from Joey Decord, and that really helped pick up his market. So maybe we could see a similar situation, but his market needs a lot of help right now.
All right. Speaking of card markets, let's get to the hockey card stock exchange, Anthony. This is where
Oh,
we take a look at some players and their markets and some guys who are trending upwards, some high performers, and some guys who are trending downwards with some low performances. And we've always said this, the hockey card market is very much like the stock market, like the New York Stock Exchange or the TSX, whichever you gonna go by, and it's based on performance. And there's a couple of guys who we both have here that are playing really well, and a couple that aren't. And let's get right to it. Couple of guys trending upward in the hockey card stock exchange. Anthony, give me your two.
so I got Jack Eichel, who in the past 2 weeks, he's just been an absolute monster. For the listeners that know, I'm a massive fantasy guy. I was trying to trade for this guy at the start of the season in almost every league, and everyone was so optimistic because he's so undervalued. Like you talked about it 2 expos ago when you were picking him up when they were in that playoff race, or maybe it was even 3 expos ago. It feels like just yesterday, but
It was the year they went to the cup and the year they won the cup, the fall before, the spring before they won the cup. So I guess 3 expos ago, but yeah, 2 years ago.
yeah, and even this summer, we kind of dabbled with the conversation of his prices really dropping. They were down to around $100 with the possibility of even being $90, which was really low. I mean, even you were first to say, like, that is insane. If you ever saw one pop up for $90, anything under $100 that isn't triple digits, you'd instantly buy it, like, without thought, just because of how talented he is. Right now, Jack Eichel PSA 10 selling for around $140 to $160 Canadian, currently up 19%, which we love that. 12 points in 6 games in the last 2 weeks. He's just been a menace in the goal and assist categories for all those category players. His PSA 10 is a pop 1,251 from the 2015-16 Upper Deck, same year as Connor McDavid. And for me, I'm still buying Jack Eichel. If you could buy him, I still think 140 to 160 is way too low for how talented he is.
Agreed.
There's no reason this card shouldn't be $300 to $350, which might sound a little bit outlandish to double up a price what the market's going for right now. But considering what other people sell for and how high how low that pop count is for a card that is so popular, I think it's still a great investment. Like Jack Eichel is a top tier end talent in the NHL. So if I do see some Jack Eichel cards, I'll definitely be picking them up.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me that Jack Eichel um, is only 150. Meanwhile, Jack Hughes is like 250, 300 for PSA 10.
Yeah.
Like it's just like I think Eichel's the equally as good a player. He's not as old, but he's got a cup, right? He's got a Stanley Cup there. So he should be trending closer to 200 bucks. So for sure, I think that that's a player in the way that he's playing right now on the rise, and he'll be taking on the Leafs tonight too. And usually that gets a couple more eyeballs on players. So maybe we'll see a little bit of an uptick of his market if he has a good performance against the Buds tonight. One of my players that I think is having an unbelievable start to the season is Kirill Kaprizov. One of the hottest players in the NHL right now. He's an MVP. In the MVP conversation, he's up 30% since the start of the season. His PSA 10 last selling for $232. It was as high as 250 last weekend. So, his market has really, really risen over the course of the last couple of months here, which is kind of interesting because, again, we go back to the Connor Bedard conversation of pop counts and how much does that impact markets. And Kirill Kaprizov is the third highest PSA 10 populated card in PSA history. And it doesn't seem to really be slowing down the market at all, right? It still seems to be enough people want him and enough demand to still warrant a 30% increase in his market. So something also interesting to note, and his PSA 10 Future Watch autos are also up 89% year to year. So year to date, up 89%
Wow.
for Kirill Kaprizov's Future Watch auto. So yeah, the Kirill the Thrill has been unbelievable. He is stocking way, way up. And when we were at the expo, I felt that Kaprizov was one of the guys that a lot of people were asking about and asking for. He was one of the hot sellers last weekend at the Toronto Sport Card Expo. So, and he's just continued to rip off goals at an alarming rate. I mean, the guy's right up there near the league lead, I believe. Is he in first place or is McKinnon still in there?
For
Uh,
points?
yeah,
Oh, I
he's
believe
up.
it's McKinnon. I think McKinnon has 29 right now.
Well, Kaprizov has 33. So is
Uh,
McKinnon.
yeah.
Well,
Oh, McKinnon has 34. Sorry.
okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
so he's right there with
One ahead.
McKinnon. So McKinnon's got 34. Kaprizov with 33 points on the year. So it's really, really close. Kaprizov's been unbelievable. Look at Martin Nakash, 30 points too. He deserves to be in this conversation as well, by the way, what he's been doing with the Carolina Hurricanes. So Marty Nakash, another special shout out, along with Connor McMichael, who's another player who we talked about a little bit earlier with Ovi, who's killing it. 12 goals, 19 points. I mean, he was someone you could find in the dollar bins at the beginning of the year. He
Yeah.
honestly was. And his PSA 10 last sale went for $118 Canadian just a couple of days ago. So Connor McMichael, another one of those guys trending upward, stocking upward on the Hockey Card Stock Exchange. Who's one more guy you want to give some love to?
So I got one more and also an honorable mention. Look away, Buffalo Sabres fans, because you guys are all over on your former players trending up right now. I got Sam Reinhart, one of the best players in the NHL. I'm coming out and saying it. I think this guy's a top 10 player in the NHL. It is ridiculous the pace that he can score at, how efficient he is. If you watch this guy, the eye test just screams elite talent. I had him in fantasy, and I always relate everything back to fantasy, which we're going to talk about Matthews too, because I have big news for a decision I made this week. But Sam Reinhart, I traded him away at the beginning of the season. I thought he would have a good season, but not as good as what happened last year. And he's just
Yeah,
proven me absolutely wrong. Scored again last night. And for those of you that play Tim's picks or do Tim's picks, he's a lock every night. Every
I
single night
know.
I see him, I pick him. I don't care. He is such a lock right now to score. Very undervalued player right now. PSA 10s are going for around 152, upwards of 175 was the most that I saw. And in the summer, they were chilling around 70 to $80. Like, we're talking about a guy that's doubling up in value when last season, coming off one of the best seasons of his career, he is one of the most serious contenders for the Rocket. I think the only guy that could really win it right now, especially with Matthews being out, either Kaprizov or Sam Reinhart, it's unreal what he's doing. Unreal.
Oh, Draisaitl's
Nah, I
also, yeah.
mean,
What do you
I'm
mean,
not.
eh?
I think Dry's a big pass first guy. I've never been big on taking Dry's over goals. Not big on it. Not big on it.
That's a very interesting thing for you to say. Very interesting thing for you to say. He's a 3-time 50 goal scorer. Like,
Yeah,
what do
but I
you
mean, 50 goal score. I mean, you could also
He's the
say
same amount
that.
of goal. He literally has the same amount of goals as Sam Reinhart right now. He's got
Yeah, but
14 goals.
oh, do I see a bet brewing right now?
Oh,
Maybe Sam Reinhart has.
100%. You wanna take that? Reinhart or Draisaitl, who scores more goals? What are we betting?
Uh,
What are we betting? I'm
what do you want to
totally
bet on?
taking Draisaitl.
Okay, I'll take Reinhardt confidently. Actually, I'll bet. I don't know, just like lunch is good. That's cool. I
Alright,
know
we
you
got
owe
a
me
lunch.
lunch on Fridays, so we'll
We
talk
got a
about that one too.
we got a lunch. We got a lunch bet here.
Fair enough.
Draisaitl or Reinhart, who scores more goals? Let us know down below who you think ends the year with more goals, Leon Draisaitl or Sam Reinhart. Yeah, let us know in the comment section down below.
How about that conversation? Sorry to cut you off too. How about that conversation? Imagine making that bet 6 years ago, 5 years ago, saying who's going to score more
They're in the
goals this
same
season.
draft class.
I know
Remember,
exactly.
they're in the same draft class, and Reinhart won 2, Draisaitl won 3. So, like, a few years ago,
Yeah, I mean,
Reinhart was the guy, and then a couple years later, Draisaitl was the guy. Now, Draisaitl is clearly the better player.
oh
Let's
yeah,
all like
yeah.
we both agree with that. That is not what we're talking about. But who ends the year with more goals? Yeah, I'm still gonna definitely take Leon Draisaitl
All
for
right,
sure.
all right.
All right, lunch bet trending downward. Who do you got trending down, Anthony?
So I got trending down. First of all, I got your bet trending down. Second of all, I got Auston Matthews, who I don't know what's going on right now. Someone's got to put this guy on a milk carton because I don't know what is happening. It's just one of the biggest conversations right now in Leafland. The injury bug is definitely riddled their team. Obviously, Max Domi going down too now, which is massive. The center depth is really, really.
Wait, Domi's hurt too?
Yeah, Domi just got placed on the IR yet. Like
Oh,
literally,
Camp.
no, Domi.
What?
Yeah, Domi lands on IR with lower body alignment. You missed that? It was like right before we started. Like when I was putting do not disturb on my phone, I got the notification right away. But missing Domi now too. This is one of the biggest injury bugs I think the Leafs have had in the past couple years. And for me personally, always relaying it back to fantasy. So I'm in a very, if you want to say, not like important, no fantasy league for me too much is important, but we take it very serious. A little bit of a bigger buy-in, and everyone's always talking about it. But I had Auston Matthews, one of the best players in fantasy, absolute stud of a goaltender, and I swapped him for Nikita Kucherov last night because I'm a little bit nervous about what this injury is all about. Like, I don't think people realize when a team won't tell any information what's going on, it's going from day to day to week to on IR. I know that was for a little bit of movement to call some people up, but still, no one really has answers. Everything right now for me, without any direct sources and just prior experience of watching hockey, I think there's a really deep conversation going on right now. If there should be like a surgery, maybe for Matthews, maybe that's why he's
No.
traveling to Germany. I don't know. My personal opinion is I
Well,
think there's.
they did come out yesterday and say there's no surgery needed. Like, so that's
I
already
mean,
been ruled out.
I wouldn't put it past right now what could happen when Matthews travels to Germany. Sure, maybe they don't want him to have that surgery. Who knows what the
So
conversation could.
So I had heard that there was some sort of treatment that is unavailable in North America that they have in Germany that he had before, and it's not surgery, it's just like a sort of treatment.
Mhm.
I read, I don't know if it's true, stem cell therapy of some kind that isn't available here. And that's why he's in Germany. He's receiving some sort of stem cell therapy
Okay.
treatment to help whatever has been ailing him, which
Yeah.
again, we don't know what it is. So the surgery I think is not really under consideration. They've come out and said that. They haven't said much, but they have said that at least. and they are expecting him to be back with the team playing next week.
Yeah, I don't
So
know. I don't know. I'm not too
I'll
optimistic
say this,
about his
the Leafs
return.
aren't in the business of making a lot of declarative statements. Most
Yeah.
GMs aren't, but those were two pretty declarative statements by Tree Living yesterday in the press conference. So that at least, like, if that was not true, he just wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
He would have been vague and would have said, "Yeah, he'll when he gets back, he gets back. We'll see where it goes." But like he specifically said next week in Florida he should be back.
Hmm. I mean, I don't know. I'm still taking this situation as pretty vague. We'll see what happens. I know you never know with injuries, and that's the number one thing. But for Auston Matthews right now in his card market, he has his
And
first.
the market's still down, regardless of
Oh
what's
yeah.
going on
Oh
with
yeah.
the injury and the ominousness of it. The market is still down, so he still belongs in this trending down segment.
Yeah. Oh, easily. But for this week, he had his first two sales under $1,000 Canadian, which we haven't seen since almost earlier in the offseason, even last offseason last year, which
Where I will buy it all day long at under a
I,
grand. I'll buy it
it,
all day long.
it's tough. You don't see them too, like at shows. You won't see like Auston Matthews PSA 10 with a sticker at $1,000. It's just not really gonna happen unless you find someone that's really just looking to sell it. I mean, the biggest questions for me, like I mentioned, are the severity of his injury. Can he really play this year? And when you look at that from a grand scheme of things, could he win the Rocket Richard? I don't personally think so. Could he come back and still have a great NHL season? Yeah, I think it's possible. But without him winning the Rocket Richard, without him putting up those big 50, 60, 70 goal seasons, I don't think the market's going to be there this year for Auston Matthews to really pop and see those PSA 10s go up to 1,700 like we saw last year in the past. One of his best seasons ever, by the way, coming off. So I don't know too much about this injury. It feels like we're a little bit indifferent about it. But as of right now, I'm kind of tentative with Auston Matthews. I don't know if I'm buying him at 950, 1,000 because I don't know what this injury looks like. So
Nah, I
I'm
am.
on a
I'm more
standstill.
bullish on it. He's still Auston Matthews. He's still the greatest
Yeah.
goal scorer in the league. Like, and we saw the market, what could happen when he performs. So, like, are you down on Matthews' career then? Like, is that where you're
No,
at?
no,
Like,
no.
you're worried
I'm
about
just
the
talking.
career?
No, like from an investor standpoint, like flipping and stuff rather than like holding it. If you want to go out and buy Auston Matthews Young Guns at 950 all day long, let's say Expo is this weekend and you could pick them up for 950, $900. Not financial advice, but all to you because I think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, you should be looking at some good
Oh,
profit,
I
not
think
financial
3,
advice.
4, 5 months from now, we should see significant profit in that.
Oh
Like,
boy,
by
do I?
next Expo.
Oh, I don't want to say there's another bet brewing. We'll keep it from
I'm
one
just saying,
bet.
last March, his cards were selling for $1,800. That's basically double what it
Yeah,
was,
I mean,
almost
I don't.
double.
I
You know
think
what I mean?
what's holding me back with Auston Matthews right now, big conversation in the hockey world, is his injury. It's just holding me back. I don't know. It's too vague. I know they're coming out with all these statements, should play next week, traveling to Germany, a lot going on a IR, off IR, whatever's going on. I'm just not big on it. I want to stay away from the situation. So that's where I stand on it. Trade him in fantasy. He's gone. We'll see you later. It was tough. I had buyer's remorse like immediately after I click accept, but
I'll buy your Young Guns for 950. You've got a
Yeah, I mean,
couple.
I don't care.
I'll
No,
buy them at 950.
my PSA 10s are all gone, but I still have. I don't even know.
Oh,
Where
they're
my,
all gone? Would you have
they're
sold one
all.
at 950 to me?
No, I probably would. I still have some.
like I'm for people that don't know, I'm a big Auston Matthews fan. Like one of my favorite players. I still
So
have.
me, you're heavily invested into Auston
I
Matthews.
still have a lot of Matthews stuff, so I'm hoping that he still comes
Back, but for me, I mean, I'm just kind of standoffish right now on his market. I just want to see how everything kind of develops or unveils in the next week and a half. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, next week we should have more answers, and maybe we could dive back into the conversation with an update on the Auston Matthews situation. Mine was Max Domi, and that was even before I saw that he was placed on IR. So he's not going to play for the next week, anyways. But he has been pointless in 13 straight games. Anthony, that's like that can't happen. for a guy like Max Domi. So his market is absolutely tanking. It's down 16% since the start of the season. Not even the Maple Leaf bump has been able to help it kind of remain and stay where it is. So not great. Last PSA 10 sale was $63 for PSA 10 Young Guns for Max Domi. So he's trending downward as well. All right, let's get into some hobby news. Oh my goodness. Hobby news. There we go. Thank you. Some hobby news. A new set released today. Engrained makes a resurgence into the hockey card land. We haven't seen Engrained since I think 2018, 19.
Wow.
I want to say was the last time that Upper Deck released an Engrained product. And here we go. They've decided to put it back out there. It's Bed's year, so they're just going to absolutely crush us with as much Bedsy product as possible. But this is an interesting set. So Engrained, it's one box. You get 6 cards in the box. I think it's a $400 box, I want to say. Did I see $400 is what it's going for? Let me just quickly. Yeah, $499. So 500 actually. So it's you're looking for the big hitters, obviously. You get 1 signature shots autograph in the box. You get 2 additional autos, mems, or carved in time cards. You will get 1 synthesis or base parallel to 49 or less. You will get a rookie from the 2022 or 2023-24 rookie class. So it's actually a trio rookie class. So you can get rookies from up to 21, 22, 22, 23, and 23, 24 in this product. And you're guaranteed 1 rookie card numbered at least. And then there's also veteran or legends base cards that are numbered as well. So you're hoping for legends, you're hoping for autos, you're hoping for good rookies, obviously. And it's just a good product for those who are looking for some high-end hits and some game-used memorabilia and autographs and short-printed stuff. So a bit of a higher-end product at $500 a box for 6 total cards. But it is interesting because, like I said, it's been 5 or 6 years since Engrained has been a product made by Upper Deck. And because of that, there's a lot of update cards too. So I was watching actually a box break, Anthony, and GP Sports Cards. Grant from GP Sports Cards was doing a box break, and he actually pulled a 1-of-1 Kirby Dach rookie auto. Kirby Dach's rookie was 1920.
Yeah.
So there was a 1920 update card inside one of these boxes, and there's a lot of good stuff, lots of good stuff. So it's a really cool set. I'll pull up. Let me pull this up here, what the set looks like, and then we could kind of quickly go through it for just a couple of minutes here. Share the screen. There we go. For those of you who are listening on YouTube, you can see what this all looks like. But yeah, so the top rookies from 2023, 24, 22, 23, and 2021 are all in there. And the product contains hard signed autographs along with game worn and game used memorabilia, including a wide variety of stick memorabilia. So this is what the base set kind of looks like. You've got stars and veterans. You've got jersey parallels, jersey auto parallels as well. These are other, so these complete sticks are actually really cool, Anthony. I don't know if you can get a good look at what they're looking like right now.
Yeah.
But, I've always thought that they're pretty sweet looking. You've got a piece of the tape, a piece of the handle, and then you've got a piece that could be either the shaft or it could be of the knob, but it's basically, the whole stick, components of the whole stick, 3 different pieces of the stick, all in 1 card, autographed. This is a Jack Hughes numbered to 25, which is pretty sick. So those are really cool inserts that you can get. These carved in time signatures, it's kind of like the wood cards that you can get out of O-Pee-Chee. Really, really cool looking card that have on card autographs as well. Again, some more really awesome signature stuff. Bedsy on card auto is going to be inside here. And yeah, so that's what you are looking for in this box. Looks like a pretty cool set, I would say.
Oh, for sure. I even love the Engrained cards. They look so nice. I think it's a laser lasered too, so that's pretty
Yeah.
sweet. It looks like those are going to be pretty sought after when they come out. And anything with Bedard, any Bedard auto sets are always going to do well. As of right now, I mean, that's what it felt like in the past, but who knows? Like we said with that conversation, I don't know what his market's going to look like 2, 3, 4 months from now if he keeps this up.
You buy it? No, you're not a big breaker. I might buy a box of this though. I don't know why. I feel like I it looks like an awesome set because I was looking at the checklist too, and there's a lot of like legends autos that are also involved, like Mike Bossy autos, Gretzky autos, Ovi, obviously Crosby, McDavid. There's a lot of big cards that you can pull from this, and you're guaranteed what 3 autographs, I believe,
Wow.
out of a box. So, you get 1 rookie auto, which you're guaranteed, and then 2 additional autos on top of it. So I think that'd be pretty sweet if you could pull, like a short printed Legends auto of some kind, like a Mario or something. That'd be awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm tempted, man. I might consider walking myself over to or driving myself over to Mint Ink and get myself a box of this stuff. We'll
There
see.
you go.
All right. One other piece of news that's actually impacting the hobby more so up here in Canada, but obviously, with the hockey card hobby, being a mainly Canadian thing, the Canada Post strike has been an issue, and will continue to be a bit of an issue. Canada Post has decided they're going to go on strike. They've got some demands that they're hoping the government will meet, and in so there has been no mail, no postage over the last couple of days. And this will, continue for however long they decide to strike for. And this is obviously an issue for a hobby in which there's a lot of buying, selling, and trading going on all across the country. And well, the method of transportation of these cards has typically been Canada Post. So this is definitely a story of interest for a lot of hobbyists.
Yeah, I think a lot of people too are just kind of holding off from buying online. Could see a little bit of a delay in some packages if you bought it a week ago ish. It all depends though too. I've heard all different types of mixed things. Talking to some people in my post office, if it was shipped out before the strike, it's still going to go through. And then other people said no, it won't. Everything's on a standstill. So I'm just hoping that everything can get back as per usual. I know Slab Sharks announced yesterday that packages are going to go shipped out as per normal, which is obviously a class act from them, always looking to advance the customer service, which I think they're doing Pure Later and FedEx now too. So not
Yeah,
only will
or
packages,
UPS.
not only will packages arrive, but they'll arrive quicker than usual. So shout out Slab Sharks for doing that for this week's, or I believe next week's auctions.
Yes, 100%. And speaking of this week's auctions, why don't we take a peek at our weekly Slab Sharks consignment auctions? And we both have a card that we like. And just a reminder that this podcast is now a powered by Slab Sharks, one of the best consigners. Sorry, not one of the best consigners, sports card consigners in Canada and hockey card consigners in the world. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of listings each and every week where you can go and you can bid on your favorite cards and come up with a couple of absolute gems. And both of us have combed through the hundreds of card listings and
Many.
come up with a couple that we really, really like. We'll start with yours, Anthony. This is one that here, I'll pull it up here. There it is, a 0304 Upper Deck Patrice Bergeron Young Guns High Gloss, and this is PSA authenticated. Not sure why it doesn't have like a grade. I don't know why they only
Yeah.
authenticated it, but anyways, why did you select this as your favorite card of the week of the Slab Sharks auctions?
I mean, personally, growing up, one of my favorite players, Bergeron, watching him as a Bruins fan was great. And for his young guns, you don't really see them too much around, especially in a good condition, which is always tough. We know the older cards are always in a tough condition. per most, I mean, this card doesn't look in the best shape. I feel like that's why it was graded authentic. Even still, though, for it to be a Patrice Bergeron Young Guns in itself is awesome. Any Patrice Bergeron Young Guns I see, it's almost like rare in a sense. You don't see them always for a great price. Not only that, but it's also a high gloss. I mean, seeing that available, only 10 of them in the world for Patrice Bergeron, and it's coming up on auction this week. You do not want to miss out. The only thing that sets me back a little bit is that it is authentic, because you never know why a card is in an authentic slab. If I were to take a little bit of a stab at it, an educated guess without any information behind as to why it's graded authentic, I mean, quite blatantly and quite honestly, the card does look a little bit beat up. You could see that top middle edge for those of you watching on YouTube, that left side, maybe there's a little bit of whitening around the card. That top right corner also not looking in the best shape. I feel like that's why the owner did not grade it. All that stuff right there, that for those of you watching on YouTube, that left corner, I don't even know what the back looks like, but I can only imagine just a similar look. That's probably why the card is graded authentic. They didn't want to get a PSA 6, a PSA 7, but even still, an amazing card. If you are a Bruins collector and you're listening right now, go on Slab Sharks on eBay and go bid on this card, because I promise you probably will not see a card like this available, especially for whatever price it might go for in a little while.
Yeah, the back didn't look too bad actually, but it was the
just that
front.
yeah.
The front, the whiting up top, the chipping, the corners are all beat up, and then obviously that one spot there in the bottom left also. I mean, this is why, man, something like that. Like, let's just be the one-touch crew. Be a one-touch crew member with this.
Yeah.
There's no reason to authenticate it. Man, the Bruins could use your boy Bergeron right now, though, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Monty out. First coach fired 2 years
man.
after having the greatest season in NHL history. Finds himself in the unemployment line. Crazy.
That's another conversation too. I do not support that decision. Like, one of the best, and I think it's now all three candidates to win Coach of the Year last year are all fired. It's crazy. I don't know what the heck's going on in Bruins land. Obviously, when you have Charlie Coyle as your center one, obviously Lindholm is supposed to be paid him all that money, what, $8 million, and he's still not showing up. He should be your number one guy, but it's just been Swayman's not playing. Don't even get me started. Whatever. Let's just move on here.
It's a mess. It's a mess from start to finish. And the easiest way to, get things going in a different direction, it's a lot easier to make a coaching change than it is to change out the whole roster, right? So that's where they find themselves. All right, you picked one legend to as one of your cards to show off in the Slab Sharks auctions. I will also be showing off a legend in the Slab Sharks auctions. Whoops, what's going on here? All right. Boom.
Oh, nice.
0607 SPA Future Watch auto of Evgeny Malkin. Now it's in an MNT slab. Might want to crack that and send her off to PSA or something, because it looks like a true gem. Yeah, 9.5s across the board. But this, I mean, you don't see these a lot, Anthony. And we're both fans of the Future Watch autos. I love the clean look of the Future Watch autos of these cards. And Geno Malkin, man, like, you don't see a lot of Malkin autos out there. So to see this one, I would be considered picking it up. And look, it still has, obviously, it's over a day to go, but at $263, it seems incredibly cheap right now. Again, it's going to definitely go for a lot higher than that. But it's got a 9.5 grade with a 10 auto. So for me, this Geno Malkin Future Watch auto looks pretty sweet to me.
Yeah, it looks like 2 PSA 9s, which I think is around a fair value for this card, going for around $450. So still a lot of room for this card to grow, and something you don't see up on auction available all the time, especially in that condition too. Usually when you see
to you, hold on, isn't that insane to you? Like a PSA 9 Malkin, only $400.
It's
like,
ridiculous
in comparison to like what's happening right now for Future Watch. Like Adam Fantilli Future Watch is probably the same price, if not more.
Yeah, And it's just like this guy
Definitely
Malkin has had a 15-year plus great career in the NHL.
Hall of
Could be
Famer.
potentially a Hall of Famer
No,
when it all.
is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, quite literally. I was gonna say first ballot Hall of Famer. I caught myself a little bit, but it has that potential with the career that he's brought to the NHL. It's crazy, these prices. I think it's more than fair to say that a Malkin Future Watch is worth $400. I think his Young Guns goes for around 300 to 350. So to have that Future Watch for a similar price, pretty good investment right now, I'd say.
Yeah, because that's something where it just seems really, really dirt cheap. So that's something that I've gonna be. I'll have my eye on over the next 30 hours until that bad boy, comes up for auction. So yeah, those are the two cards that that we liked looking at the Slab Sharks auctions. There's hundreds of more listings that you could go and take a look at Slab Sharks, official sponsor of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. All right, buddy. Any nice pickups this weekend?
Nothing too crazy. I went to the St. Catharines card show, and I didn't put too many aside because I just had them in the grading pile. But let me sift through these. Maybe you want to go first here?
Sure. I'm in the same boat. I was like, wait, my case is over here. But yes, I do also have some cards that I picked up. I mainly picked up like a couple of. I didn't pick up many at the show. I did have one buy that I grabbed, like some Young Guns, a bunch of random Young Guns, I guess. Nothing too crazy. Trying to think where I put those at. But yeah, there wasn't anything too crazy, I guess, this past weekend that I grabbed. Like I said, just some cheap Young Guns. What do we got here? Like a Logan Cooley Young Guns, a Stützle Young Guns, Zach Benson, just some cheap stuff like that. Nothing crazy.
Not bad. I pretty much picked up. So at the St. Catharines show was most of my pickups. Nothing through the mail, obviously, but I picked up some Bobby McMahon, and I always mess up his name, McCann, but Bobby McMahon Young Guns. I feel like he's pretty cheap at $5. Goal score for the Toronto Maple Leafs. One more because you want. Picked up a Lafreniere Future Watch, who playing really well this season, even last year as well. Really hot player. Everyone loves picking up Laffy. Got Rupe Hintz and Owen Tippett. Absolutely rinsed this guy for
stud cards right there. Stud cards.
So me and Mike got a little bit of a deal done this weekend. He did take me to the cleaners though, so we will be buying me lunch on Friday just to
the cleaners,
just to even everything up. Another cool card that I'm just messing around. Obviously, another cool card was this Matthew Savoy orange checkers. Obviously disappointed that it's the Buffalo Sabres photo. We've talked about it a couple times in the summer when rookie cards are for teams that they borderline didn't even really play for. Like he didn't play many games for the Sabres. Obviously a member of for the Oilers now. So it would have been cool to maybe wait off on his rookie stuff, but obviously always happy to pick up a good player like that. And two other cards that I picked up, a Mitch Marner PMG. Pretty sweet card. I'll probably save this for the next expo. Just one of those cards that I'm sure someone will want for $30-$40 eventually. And cool card from the Cup here. Picked up a Jake Sanderson, the Cup rookie auto patch. I posted on our Instagram on Sports Cards GTA. I've been picking up some more of stuff from the Cup because
big Cup auto guy now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's still a lot of opportunity with some of the lower end guys too. Like you see low end rookies go for around $10 for these rookie auto patch cards. If they pop, those cards could easily go for 60, 70, $80. So I'll definitely keep picking up more stuff from the Cup.
I'm with you, buddy. I love looking up stuff from the Cup, especially patch autos, RPAs. I love picking those up. Nice autos. I had a decent little lot that I bought off of a gentleman who walked up to the table. Some cool cards. This is a Connor McDavid penalty box variation. I've actually never seen one of these before.
What the heck?
Super short printed. So it was a McDavid short print. That's just a no brainer to pick up.
What does something like that go for?
Not super expensive. I think it was like a $30 to $40 card. So like not super expensive, but it's one of those cards too where it's like someone has to know what it is. And they have to know how rare it is, and they have to want it, right? So like it's not a card for everybody. Because if you're just going through your pack, you open up a box, you're going through your pack. You know how many of these are going to end up in a base pile?
Oh yeah.
Like, I guarantee you there's going to be so many of these that end up in a base pile just sitting there chilling. It's from Extended, where people just don't know that it's an image variation. I guarantee you there's going to be a bunch of them sitting in base piles around the world. But anyway, so that was one pickup. Nice little Tage Thompson auto was also another pickup that I had. Evolve. Nice little Miko Rantanen SP Authentic auto pageantry. That's a nice on-card auto there. And Kirill Kaprizov credentials live tonight, kind of the poster looking thing, which I thought were pretty cool. And then, yeah, just a whole bunch of young guns that I was able to grab for pretty cheap also. Oh, and I did make this actually really cool pickup of a Juan Soto autograph. Yeah, Juan Soto auto.
Future Blue Jay?
Possibly a future Blue Jay, but wherever he goes, he's going to absolutely tear it up. Jonas Siegel of The Athletic says he is the greatest hitter that his eyes have ever seen. And so a Juan Soto numbered auto to 175 and a PSA 8, but it's a thick card. So a PSA 8 isn't terrible. It's only a pop 3 with only 3 higher than that. So pretty cool pickup there. I've never had a Juan Soto auto, so I picked one up.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Love it.
So it was a fun weekend. Fun weekend. Any plans this weekend?
Nothing too much card related. Nothing too much anything else related. I mean, as of right now, just kind of doing a bunch of homework this week. We'll be chilling and doing all that stuff, which is always fun. A couple papers due next week, so I'll be locked in with that. And obviously watching the Leafs Vegas game tonight, which I'm super pumped for.
Should be a good game. Looks like there's only one show in the GTA area, a TNT trade show this Sunday in Brampton. I'm unfamiliar with the show, to be quite honest with you. So I don't know if it's a new one that they're trying to do here, or if it's more of a TCG show. I don't know, but a TNT trade show. If anyone's looking to hit up a show this weekend within the GTA in Brampton, 1133 Queen Street East in Brampton. You could check out the TNT trade show on Instagram for more information if you're interested. So there's that show on Sunday. All right, buddy, that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe right here on YouTube, and you can also listen to us, all you on the go listeners, on Spotify as well. We'll be back next weekend, or next Wednesday, rather, with another episode of the Hockey Card Haven podcast.